Hey, what's up guys? Joker here. Today we got a news story on the GTX 1060, which has been pictured, and we also have some of the specs of this graphics card, so we can expect to be seeing it coming out fairly soon. The rumors are that it's already in the hands of reviewers right now, so we should probably expect to see at least the Founders Edition or the reference version of the GTX 1060 launching sometime in July. Looking at the first slide, which was provided by videocards.com, we can see that it is sporting 1,280 CUDA cores, which is less than its bigger brother, the GTX 1070, which had 1,920 CUDA cores. So we'll have to see how much that does impact the performance of the GTX 1060, which is targeting that sub $300 price point to really compete directly with the RX 480. The boost clock on here is also 1.7 gigahertz, which is pretty close to the 1070, which was 1683 megahertz, so we're kind of right in that same range right there, and also 6 gigabytes of DDR5 memory. Now, we also saw some earlier rumors that there were going to be a 3 gigabyte and 6 gigabyte version, so we have to it still remains to be seen if we're going to see that 3 gigabyte, because according to this slide right now, we're just seeing 6 gigabytes listed here, which is still kind of odd that Nvidia decided to go after 6 gigabytes when AMD already has an 8 gigabyte offering in the RX 480, and even before that, with the RX 390 series, they have had 8 gigabytes on their cards for quite some time. We can also see the memory speed here at 8 gigabytes per second, a single 6-pin power connector with 120 watt TDP, and it is going to sport 3 DisplayPort connectors, 1 HDMI, and a single DVI connector. We've got more pictures here of the GTX 1060 compared to what we just had initially, which was the front of the card. We can now see the rear of the card here, which is showing a partial backplate extended past the PCB, which is relatively short. It's a pretty short card, kind of going after, I guess, the small form factor, power efficient with the only single 6-pin connector on here. But it was kind of odd that they only, put it on a partial backplate. I would have liked to see the backplate extend the full length of the card, because the Founders Edition do have some really nice backplates, so it would have been nice to get the full coverage on there so that you got protection on the PCB. But we also got on here the rear of the card. You could see there the 3 DisplayPort and 1 HDMI with the single DVI, so that's nice that they did include DVI on there. The RX 480, if you remember, that didn't have the DVI straight away, but some of the board partner cards like the Sapphire Nitro, we have seen pictures of those which are using DVI, so good on Nvidia for including the DVI connector on there. With going after that budget market of under $300, you might see people with a little bit older monitors that need to have that DVI port, so I think that is a good reason to include the DVI port on there. So it's interesting to see this card coming out. They're coming out right after the RX 480, and they're targeting that sub $300 price point. We don't know the exact price yet, but we are expecting to see this card under $300 for the 6 gigabyte versions. Whether that's going to be for the Founders or the aftermarket, it still remains to be seen, because we haven't gotten a paper launch announcement yet from Nvidia, and it doesn't really seem that's going to be happening this time around. At least that's just my speculation. I think maybe they might have learned from the last one, but we'll have to remain to be seen. But the fact that it's already in the hands of reviewers without it being announced yet, I think bodes pretty well for this particular card. So I will be picking one of the 1060s up when it does come out. I want to compare that directly with the RX 480, because I think it's going to be a hell of a matchup, especially if the prices are pretty close to each other. We'll have to see just how well the 1060 can stack up, or if AMD's RX 480 with the 8 gigabytes of video memory can hold its place as the king of the sub $300 price bracket. So I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here, guys. Thank you for watching, and let me know what you think about the 1060 down below. And today's sponsor is Slant.co, which has articles like the best GPU for gaming under $300, which users can go over there and then vote on and add the pros and cons. It's kind of like a community-based review site where people can add their own pros and cons, and then people can then upvote those based on the validity of the claims. So link's going to be down to Slant.co down in the description below, where I actually have up the best GPU for under $300 voting on here. So I think they should add the 1060 now at this point. Once we get a little bit more information about it and it moves past the point of rumor. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see these cards stacked up. So I'll catch you guys next time. Ta-ra.